A very good afternoon, my followers. A very good afternoon, and then welcome back to our channel, the Junior Primary channel for interview. Of course, I'd like to thank those one who shared, liked, and comment our videos, and those who invited new members to come and follow to our channel. So thank you. So you did a very great job. So welcome back. On today's discussion, we are going to focus, or we are focusing, or we will focus on learner-centered education, abbreviated to be LCE. L for learner, C for centered, and E for education. Learner-centered education. We are going to define what is learner-centered education and things under it, everything linked to learner-centered education. That's our focus for today. So don't be left out, and please stay tuned, and don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And if you have a suggestion, any comment addition, just type it right down in the comment section. And then if you need correct documents or any documents that you need, you can just request it in the comment section, then maybe with your number or your email, so I can get that document reached to you. So yeah, let's begin. Okay, so we are dealing with learner-centered education. So when you're talking about learner-centered education, so this is an approach of teaching that focuses on the needs, the abilities, the interests, and the learning styles of the learner, rather than being centered on the teacher or by the teacher. What does it mean? So it is an approach. The word approach, it means the way, or it means the method, how the teaching, like how it focuses on the needs, the ability, the interest, and the learning styles of the learner, rather than being centered on the teacher or by the teacher. So it focuses on the what? It focuses on the needs, the experiences, the knowledge, the interest of the learner, rather than just focusing on the teacher. So it means learner-centered educations. It focusing on what? Learners to have a voice in their learning environments. Learners to have democracy. Democracy means a voice in, to participate in a certain aspect. So here learners are required to be part of teaching and learning, rather than just the teacher making all the choices, but learners here, they have a choice in their hands also to be taught, regard their interest, their learning styles, their abilities, and their knowledge. Okay? That it is an approach that means that teachers put the needs and the experiences of the learner at the center of what they do in the classroom, rather than the learner being made to fit whatever needs the teacher has decided upon. So it means what? Here it means that, so the learners are made to be what? To fit in their own interest, but not only in the interest decided by the what? Decided by the teacher upon them. Okay, it says what again? The teacher is responsible for developing different activities to find out what the learners already know about the topic, so in learner-centered, the teachers are not the teacher, but the learners are more actively participating in the learning environment. So here the teacher's role is just to build on the existing knowledge that learners have already know. So here the teachers to do what? To develop the different activities to find out what the learners already know about the topic, okay? Then the teachers develop more activities that build on and extend on what learners already know, to extend the learner's knowledge, okay? And then it says what? Learners should be involved as partners in rather than receivers in educational growth. When I talk about learner-centered education, LCE, it gives the authority to learners. This is an approach that gives authority to learners to have a voice in learning, to choose what kind of method the teachers need to be used so they can be taught. So it is just an approach that allows or give learners voice into their education to show their interest, to show their skills, knowledge, so that a teacher can just build on to those existing abilities, the needs, experiences, yes, those kind of things. So here the teacher's just as a facilitator, but not just lecturing, but just the teacher here just observing and build more on what learners have already know, okay? So in the learner-centered approach, or learner, not approach, but the learner-centered education, so there are things that we need or that we are going to focus on. We are going to look at what? Learner-centered education and conventional teaching. So this means just a teacher-centered education. How does a teacher-centered education intervene now into learner-centered education? Okay, we are also going to look at the dimensions. So when you're talking about dimensions, those are the different components or the characteristics now of learner-centered education. Okay, then we move to learner-centered education and the learner. How now learner-centered education and the learner linked or connect, okay? Then we move to the role of the teacher in learner-centered classroom. This is the most very much important, okay? So it says the role of the teacher in the learner-centered education classroom. Your role as a teacher. What are your roles as a teacher in a learner-centered education classroom? Okay, then we are going to look at learner-centered strategies, the learner-centered education strategies. So there are some strategies that you as a teacher needs to know so you can easily form up or involve or implement it now into your classroom. We are going to look at what? Under learner-centered education strategy, we are going to look at grouping learners. How are you going to group your learners? Types of the groups. What types of the groups are you going to invert in your classroom? The procedures of designing group activities. What procedures are you going to follow to design the group activities? And then the group work process. And then the rules of group teaching. The rules, not roles, but rules. The rules of group teaching. So these are some of the things that we are going to focus on. We are going to focus on learner-centered education and conventional teaching. We're going to focus on the dimensions, whereby the dimensions, those are the different components and the characteristic involved in learner-centered education. We're going to focus on the learner-centered education and the learner. We're going to focus on the role of the teacher in learner-centered education classroom. We are going to focus on the learner-centered strategies. What strategies that you need to know when you are involving learner-centered education into your classroom, whereby we are going to focus at grouping learners, we're going to focus at the types of the groups, we're going to focus on the procedures of designing group activities, we are going to focus on the group work process, and then the last one, we will focus on the rules of group teaching. So I hope you have a clear understanding on how or like about learner-centered education. What is learner-centered education? Whereby we talked about that this is an approach, and then the word approach, it means that's the way or the method of doing or dealing with something, and then to link it now to learner-centered education. So this is an approach of teaching that focuses on the needs, the abilities, the interests, and the learning styles of the learner rather than being centered of the teacher or by the teacher. So just to give a voice in hands of the learners to make sure that their interest and their learning style are expressed in learning. So their learning styles are catered in the learning environments. Their ability, their knowledge are not left out, but involved rather than just the interest and the abilities or the learnings or the teaching methods are decided by the teacher, but on their sides they also have the authority. Goodbye, my friends.